Let me sum up our discussion of the interpretation of Scripture outlined in the Synoptic Gospels. We have seen that the Gospel narrative interprets Jesus' anointment with the Spirit as enabling him to provide for uncovering a new, previously hidden meanings of biblical prophecies, somewhat similar to the ability ascribed to the teacher of righteousness and the priestly Messiah of the last days by Qumranic Pesher. These exegetical insights, however, are not limited to Jesus, but they are also available, for example, to the author of Matthew and similarly to others within the movement. In addition to this, also following the reception of the gift of the Spirit, Jesus is presented as a Torah sage, proposing the powerful interpretation of both details of the Torah laws and of the general principles behind the Torah demands. As for Jesus' specific rulings, he is in many cases closer to certain factions within the Pharisaic milieu, while being clearly at odds with patterns of interpretation attested in the Dead Sea Scrolls. However, as for the general gospel approach, according to which a messianic contender has to provide for an ultimate Torah interpretation, the scrolls do supply an illuminating backdrop to the gospel strategies, because it is in the scrolls that certain messianic figures receive the appellation the interpreter of the Torah, and the task of interpretation is presented as their core mission. Though we saw in the Sermon on the Mount that Jesus is eager to unearth additional meanings of the Torah commandments pertaining to our words and even intentions, nowhere did we encounter such salient feature of Hellenistic Jewish exegesis of Scripture as presenting the external commandments as only symbols of our inner reality. One would therefore be justified to argue that the exegetical layer of the synoptic narrative was not drastically reworked during the later Hellenistic phase in the development of the Gospel tradition, but retained its land of Israel matrix.